least competitive elections of any state in the United States of America. South Carolina has more problems with gerrymandering than any state in the United States of America. And it is not a Republican problem. It is not a Democratic problem. It is a people not having a voice in their government problem. If you look at the districts, for every solid, safe Republican seat, you'll see a solid, safe Democratic seat. We have created an apartheid here in South Carolina that has divided the voters at the whims of the politicians. For too long, the people have sat back and allowed their politicians to decide who they vote for. And what hurts my heart is that many of you know I used to be a high school social studies teacher. And so I would teach civics. I taught civic engagement. I taught the law that the judge and my philosophical colleague in the Senate talk about all the time, and Representative Hunter as well, is that the idea of citizenship and participating in a democracy, and that we get the government that we deserve, and if we aren't willing to vote, then we don't get the right to complain because we don't get a chance to do anything. And so I preached that to my students, and we registered to vote in my class. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
And my students, I made sure my students know when to vote and where to vote. And what broke my heart was in my students that I had pumped them up with as much passion as I had inside of me, came back and said, "Why, Mr. Fanning, there was only one name on the ballot.
That's it.
My vote didn't matter." And you know what? There wasn't anything I could say to that.
That's it.
When I taught social studies, and when it was taught years ago, y'all remember back in the 70s and 80s, we talked about the evils of the Soviet Union and how they would have pretend elections with only one name on the ballot. And miraculously, someone would win. And we would brag on ourselves because we're the United States of America, where the people have a choice. We're not those evil commies over in the Soviet Union. But today, be careful what Grandma said. When you point fingers, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you. We are just as guilty as what we condemned them of back in the 80s. We are giving our people no choices to make the decisions about who run their government, and it's time for it to change. We have banded together as Republicans and Democrats in the Senate and the House. Each of the 4 of us have bills for solutions with this, but none of the bills have gotten traction because the argument doesn't belong to us, the argument belongs to the people. We charge you after this meeting today, please help us spread the word that nothing should occur until Senate and House hearings are held on any of the bills to allow us to give tractions, because if we're going to vote as a Senate and a House to keep that power and deny it from the public, we ought to do that in front of you and tell you we're going to deny you your right. But if we otherwise are going to listen to you and give you the rights that you deserve as American citizens and allow you to pick the politicians rather than picking the voters, then I believe that starts with you. And before we conclude, we have someone special with us. This individual is a sergeant in the United States Army, served in Baghdad as a medic. He's now working at Fort Jackson. And in some of his spare time, guess what he's doing? He is working with Fair Maps to try to get the word out to folks that this is not a problem that we should solve. It's a problem the people of the South Carolina should demand of their public.
That's right.
So if you would, please put your hands together for a sergeant in the United States Army, our very own Preston Anderson.
Talking with several hundred people as part of the Fair Maps campaign, going out to outreach events and speaking to people. And it's surprising as to how many people will just voluntarily submit to me what their political affiliation is without me asking. And across the political spectrum, people were very interested in learning more about gerrymandering and the effect that gerrymandering has had on the political situation here in South Carolina. It is no accident that some children have an inadequate education system. It is no accident that some people have inadequate health care. And so we have those discussions on the street and inform people more about gerrymandering and what they can do to change that. And so part of the Fair Maps campaign was getting people signed up to learn more about the independent commission that the Fair Maps campaign is promoting, and that's what we're talking about here today. I would encourage everyone here at the end of this meeting here to come out to 1340 Elmwood to learn more about what you can do in the Fair Maps campaign and how you can contribute to this particular cause, which is important to me and important to everyone here, obviously. So again, thank you everyone for coming, and thank you for allowing me to kind of have a moment to speak about Fair Maps campaign.
That's all right.
Then it is absolute beginning for you. There's a lot of work to be done to engage citizens, to go see their representatives and senators with meaningful information about why this is fair and why it will work in everyone's best interest, including the members.
That's right.
So thank you so much for coming. As Mr. Anderson said, there'll be a gathering at the headquarters of the Progressive Network on, what's the address? 1340 Elmwood Avenue. I know where it is, but 1340 Elmwood Avenue, right across from the No Name Deli, if you know where that is. I see all these names of these people who won by vast majorities. I see the names of wonderful people I served with and who probably may get elected under the Fair Maps, but at least the legitimacy will be more significant. Senator Davis addressed that. Everybody talks about the foundation of our democracy. It's not great health care, not great education system in some areas. It's elections in which people have confidence and in which
Even if they
they
don't
pledge their faith. This is the most important thing you can be doing now. Thank you so much.
Amen.
If you want to turn these signs, we got two people back here